Hey guys, it's Gabrielle Celeste. You're listening to the Spiritual Sisters podcast.
Hello, it's me. And we haven't had a guest in a while, and I'm really excited. We need to talk about how this happened. Our guest today is Anna from Anna Rising. Hey, Anna.
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for saying yes. So this happened like super last minute, probably 48 hours ago, if that. I went to, Gabby likes to call it psychic school. I call it not psychic school. I call it Intuition Academy with Anna. She was in my cohort along with Elizabeth, who you guys have met before. She's been on a few times. And Anna is going to talk to us about her offering and the services that she does, which she just put out and I swear is like kind of blowing up. And when I was editing the episode for last week that we did, the episode about soulmates and twin flames and karmic partners, in that episode, Gabby, you said something like, we need to have a soul contract person on here. And I was editing it. Yeah. And we had already gotten our contracts back from Anna. And I was like, Gabby, we need to have her on because we literally were just talking about it. So imagine all these synchronicities. If you guys haven't
manifested it.
Yeah, we totally did.
If you guys haven't listened to that episode on synchronicities, that came out the week before the twin flames. So I feel like this is all lining up so beautifully. I love it. So, okay, before we get started, our fun holidays for the week. We have February 22nd, Walking the Dog Day. I don't have a dog, so I will not be participating. And we have February 26th is Tell a Fairy Tale Day. And that's all we got. Not very many this week. So that's it. Check out our pod friends. Also, guys, we have a lot of them. I don't have them pulled up right now to share all the podcasts, but we're going to be sharing them every day that they drop. So every day of the week that they drop. So just check out our socials for that. And if you haven't already left us a review, please go ahead and do that. If you're not following us on Instagram, please do that. What's our handle? Is it the, or is it just?
It's the Spiritual Sisters podcast, yeah.
Okay. Gabby's a social person, so follow us there. And okay, Anna, in 2024, we have been focusing on getting our shit together. And we have so many guests. And we have certain questions that we like to ask our guests. So we are going to start with, what are your big three?
My big three. I am a Gemini sun, Virgo moon, and Virgo rising.
Oh!
Yeah,
she's
a lot of Virgo
twin.
energy.
A lot of Virgo energy. Okay.
And I remember you guys telling me that you guys have a lot of Virgo in your family. So that must be fun.
Our dad and for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know who the other ones are. Gabby knows, but I don't.
Brianna and Mom.
Oh. And Savannah too?
And Savannah, that's so true. Brianna and Savannah. So Savannah's a Virgo sun, Virgo rising, and Brianna's a Virgo moon, Virgo rising. Mom's a Virgo moon and Dad's a Virgo sun.
I can't keep up. Okay.
It's a lot.
Yeah. And what is your human design?
I'm a manifesting generator.
Hey, MG's in the house. Do you know your profile?
2-4, but I don't know what it means.
Okay. I'm a 4-6. You're 4-6 too, right, Gabs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course we're the same, Nichole.
Well, Anna's going to speak to that. So, yes. Okay. And right now, what is your...
wait. What? What's your authority? Sacral, emotional?
Oh.
I think it was sacral.
Sacral? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Same. We're sacral too.
Sounds about right.
It said something about like how you have to feel good about doing something. Is that sacral? Okay.
That or emotional, yeah. The sacral feels like
your strongest sense is probably going to be feeling, and then your not self is maybe frustration. That sounds yeah. Same.
On point.
Same. Okay. And right now, what's your like favorite or like go-to spiritual podcast or just any podcast? It doesn't even have to be spiritual related, but what do you enjoy listening to?
I was really into Nikki Novo for a while, but I feel like that's an obvious one. I think that's how we got into the soul reading method in the first place. But I also would listen to Christina Sutra's podcast. She does just some like words of affirmation and some meditations on there.
Ooh, I love that. Have you listened to Nikki's new episodes?
I haven't.
They're good.
You're missing out. They're good. She puts out 2 a week right now. So she does one regular one, and then she does like a business edition. And I think that usually comes out on Thursdays. I think her release days are
Tuesday, Thursday.
Yeah. So they're nice and easy to listen to. So
I'm going to have to check it out.
Yeah. Oh, so side note, I listened to, let's see, Not Skinny But Not Fat today. It was from earlier this week because she had Jay Shetty on. It was such a good interview.
Yeah.
Did you know that he officiated J-Lo and Ben Affleck's wedding?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah.
He like intentionally infiltrated. That sounds negative, but he intentionally knew he had to like bring up the light force energy, and he knew he had to do that in LA and Hollywood. And I was like, bro, you are very smart.
I really enjoy him. Okay. And I need to go back and listen to his. I haven't listened to his in a while, but I think he was talking about how he interviewed J-Lo way back in the beginning. He did an interview with Kendall Jenner. So I need to go back and find those because, I want to check those out. Okay. Anna, if you could read for or provide your offering for any celebrity, who would it be?
Probably Taylor Swift. I love her karma so much, and I have all the questions for her. How she got so successful. I think she's not the first female singer that's a billionaire, right? Or is she the first one?
Rihanna, I think, was a billionaire, but I think a lot of that came from her makeup line, maybe?
Yeah, what about Celine?
It didn't all come from...
Maybe Celine? Yeah.
Maybe.
Her Taylor Swift's chart is fascinating.
I'd imagine so. I feel like she has a lot of luck going on there, and it's really interesting. When I looked up her karma before, it said that she was a very influential person in her previous life, like really influential. And the karma that she has is that she has a tendency of choosing sides, of like a side of an issue really quickly. And it ends up backfiring on her because she doesn't do the research. Like she believes only one side and then doesn't care to get the other side. And that ends up getting her in trouble. And it's a cycle that she has to break in this lifetime.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's her karma.
Oh.
But it's understandable why she's so influential right now.
How do you get 2 great lifetimes like that? Or I'm sure maybe she's had more, but like, how do you just get to be that in all the lifetimes? That's not fair. Okay. And last question, if you could go to any concert of anyone dead or alive, who would it be?
I would kill to go to, I think it's My Chemical Romance. Is it My Chemical Romance that sings the Black Parade?
Oh,
do you guys have any idea?
I think it is, yeah.
I want to hear that live so bad.
Ooh, what is it about that?
Just it's so uplifting. The music video itself is about this guy that passes away after having cancer, and it's so artistic. I love it. You guys should check it out. But it's an old song, and I love the beat. I love the sound of the music. And when I found out that they almost didn't put that into their album, I was like, "What? This is like the best song of the album." I love it so much. It's my go-to. It's my go-to workout song.
I love
it. I need to get inspired.
What's it called?
My Black Parade.
The Black Parade. I think it's My Chemical Romance. I'm gonna feel bad if I'm quoting it wrong.
Black Parade.
That's a oldie but goodie for sure.
I
feel like that came out when I was like junior high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of. I've heard of My Chemical Romance, but that wasn't what I was listening to. So I need to check it out. Okay. So, Gabs, do you want to tell the story of how this all came to be?
Well, okay, so I know this is the background, but I would love Anna for you to speak to it too. But I'll share like my quick experience. I know that you had been in the same cohort with Nichole, and I came across your profile. And I don't know how we got to talking, but I was scoping you out because I'd just
She's
be
a
like that.
stalker.
I'm a stalker as a 4/6 in human design. And I'm just like, all right. So I knew that this was going to come together. And so when Nichole was like, Gabby, we have to do it, I was like, perfect. Can't wait. Because we had had such a great experience with the offering that we had just recently got from you. And I thought that that was so funny. So anyways, you and I had been going back and forth. And so Nichole calls me when I'm in the Pacific Northwest, and she's like, I just purchased the offering from Anna. And I was like, okay. And then I ended up doing it like a couple hours later. And then I
Because
ended
you
up
do everything that I do.
vice versa. So then we ended up purchasing one for our other sister too. And now our other sister, Savannah, reached out to you as well.
I
So
did.
we're so excited just to like hear all the things. But what I thought was so fascinating is that because Nichole and I are born on the same day, we pretty much have a very identical chart, although we're born 9 years apart. So, yeah,
Mm.
I'm so excited to have you here and you just to talk a little bit more about the system that you work with.
Yeah, I want to know just how it kind of came to be because I mean, I'm sure you've been researching it and like looking into it, but you just kind of came out and said, hey, this is what I'm going to be offering. And I feel like it has been like blowing up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm not living it, but it seems like it's getting a lot of momentum and really intriguing a lot of people. So what's it been like? Yeah, just how did you decide to do it? What's it been like since you told people you were going to do it?
It's been absolutely crazy. I didn't expect it to be so popular. I just thought that that was something that I found interesting. I didn't think that other people would be like crazy want to know it, but it's the system itself is so amazing. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but it's tied with numerology and tarology. So when you look at some of the numbers, they're also basing it off of the number of the major arcanas in tarot.
Oh,
And yeah, when I saw it, I'm like so you have a system where you can physically see the map of your soul contracts and your karma, and you don't have to like go into the Akashic records. Like it's all laid out there for you. And I'm like, this is so much easier to suss out for people, I feel like, and digest than it would be to get an Akashic record reading. So I'm like, I have to check this out. I actually came across it on this one Russian lady's page. I don't even remember her handle, unfortunately, but it's apparently really big there. After I saw her, I got all of these suggestions for these Russian ladies that do soul contracts, but they call it Soul Matrix in Russian. And they have this site where you could take a course in it, and it's a lot of adding up the numbers of your birth date to get the numbers all across your chart, and it kind of goes in a circle. You start off like on the outer edges of the two squares that are in the middle. Like there's one square that's standing like a little slanted, and then there's a square that's standing normal, and it's a lot of addition. So they have a calculator for you to input the numbers of the person's birth date, and then it brings up all of the patterns, all of the karmic patterns, all of the paternal patterns, and then there's just a lot of information in Russian. So I was digesting all of this, and I think I have a cheat sheet of like 160 pages
oh
of
wow.
all of these different kinds of karmic paths, lessons, programs that people are born with, personalities. It's so much, and I haven't even tapped into half of it because then there's health, health issues, and your chakras, because those all have their own individual numbers, and it's way too much to do like when you're just starting out and at one time. It's
Mm-hmm.
and I know I sent you guys probably a quarter of the information that's actually available.
Wow.
So it's absolutely insane. I wish I knew the history of it and how it came about, but I know that it involves numerology and tarot.
So, quick question. Is the name
Yeah.
of the system Soul Matrices or?
In Russian, yes.
Okay.
I have yet to find out what they would call it in English. Because I'd imagine that they probably do have a word for it in English.
Yeah.
Like a study of it.
Yeah, that's so cool. It just looks so different than any other system I've come across. So I think maybe that's like where we're like, oh, like, soul contracts. Don't have to like go into a meditative state and pull yourself into another dimension and see what's going on in the records, because it's a lot of energy. So
it is, and it's a lot of information to get, and I think that's part of the reason why it's so draining. And I didn't realize how draining it would be when you're going into a person's energy. I didn't think that you were, because you're not meditating, you're not trying to get all of this information intuitively. It's all available to you in front of you after you crunch in the numbers. But you're still accessing a person's energy. And I remember I had to take a break so many times doing yours, Nichole.
Sorry.
It's okay. Like, it was tough. And it wasn't because your energy was heavy or anything. I just felt so tired. But
story of her life.
I've noticed it's a theme. I don't know why. When you're typing all of this up, I guess you still channel that person's energy because you're accessing their date of birth somehow. I'm not sure if you guys can speak to that, but it's...
Is there a way that you could have it, because you mentioned you have these pages of cheat sheets, and I know some of it is, like you said, your interpretation, but is there a way where you could kind of have it like where you almost like copy and paste? Because I'm assuming, like, for example, with human design, a 4-6 is going to kind of always be what a 4-6 is. A 2-4 is always going to be what that is. And if you could just kind of go in and say, okay, this person has this number over here, and so I'm going to pull this, and then just kind of add whatever you need to after, or would that not work that way?
That's what I was trying to do. But as I'm typing it out, sometimes, it doesn't feel right. So I'm like, I feel like I should cut that out. And there was, oh man, when I first pulled up my chart, I got offended. It was rough. I was like, it was as if somebody took like my life completely unfiltered and put it on to a page, and I'm like, well, that's mean. That's just unfortunate. But it's so accurate, and everything they said about the programs that come from my parents, from my mother's side, from my father's side, it's all just so on point. It's scary. And when I was looking up different celebrities, like, I almost felt like I was violating like their energetic space, because I was looking into these programs and I'm like, this is not something that I should really know. This is not something that anybody should know about this person unless they wanted them to, if that makes any sense. So and then I started thinking, I'm like, celebrities are constantly in front of people all the time, and like, imagine having to perform, and I don't know how they don't completely drain themselves being in front of all of that. I don't know what they do.
I got thoughts.
What are they?
Well, so it's so funny because we would learn astrology back in the day when I was taking classes with my astrologer. Shout out to the Spiritual Gaze. And they were like, you know what? Celebrities signed up for it. Like, they signed up for it to be public information because they're public figures. And I was like, hey, you know what? That's kind of true. And then the other thought I had was also that the negative effects of like celebrities that we see go downhill, like Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston. And I think it's because you see the negativity of just like all of that constant attention. But then you have examples of like the negative energy vampires. Some would say Beyonce is one of them because she's clearly using certain imageries and she does work with ancestral goddesses. And so Yeah,
How do you know
girl,
these things? Like, how do we know that this is actually something that she does and not just something that
she speaks
someone
to
made
it.
up? And
If you
when?
pay attention
Where?
to her imagery, if you pay attention to the works that she
I don't
has,
like Beyonce. I don't pay attention to much that she does.
I mean, I'm indifferent to her after learning all these things about her, but
Oh, I don't care about that. I think she's overrated.
I would agree. Yeah. Um, but yeah, and then there's, I mean, I don't know, you guys. Someone let me know if you guys have information on this, but then like the Illuminati, like if that's even a thing, that's like more conspiracy theories. That's Nicole's arena, but I, I mean, there's a lot of things that are negative that go on in Hollywood. Anyways, that's my 2 thoughts. 2 cents.
Okay, so just kind of backtracking to what you were saying earlier, Anna, how you sent the report to us, right? And you said that was only a quarter of what it is. You guys, she sent us a book. She sent us a 30-page report. And it's like, it's so much. I was like, this is so thorough. And I kind of skimmed through it because I think when I got it, it was a little bit late. So I kind of looked at it, I skimmed through. I'm like, okay, I'm going to wait till tomorrow to actually read it. And there was just so much information. And I was like, wow, so much of this is so on point. And like you said, it's kind of like a little offensive, right? Like just how much it knows, and it's crazy. So I can't imagine if you were using the other 3/4 of what you had, like what that would look like. Like it's wild.
I gotta tell you guys how nervous I was when I pulled up your contract, Nichole, and it says, this is one of the hardest contracts. I'm like,
Oh my
shit.
god.
I'm like, they're gonna be so mad. I'm like, I reacted badly to my karma, and it did not say that it was the worst contract, but I hurt a lot of people in a past life, and so I was like, this is not good. So, and then I pulled yours, Gabrielle, and I'm like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. How is this exactly the same?
Yeah.
Their numbers are different. Their year is different. So I started plugging in, okay, like June 22nd, and I started plugging in different years. And I'm like, this is the only year that it does that. It
Stop.
it doesn't even mirror it. It's exactly the
Oh.
same.
Oh,
So the only
see?
difference with your 2 charts was that you're experiencing 2 different years. Like you're in one year and she's in another.
Right.
So it's giving you like different numbers for the year. So different energies and different things that's going to be going on this year for you guys.
That is okay. So I have so many thoughts, and I know Nicole does too. But I just want to ask, like, when you say the hardest karma, I would love to learn more about that. And then also, in your system, does it speak to like what the karma is and how to remedy it?
Yes. There was recommendations. On how to remedy it, like to break cycles, and like I wrote a forward for you guys, like in the beginning of it, talking about how healing this is, because at first you get triggered, and then you're like, this is exactly what I was looking for, because I want to see what's happening, what cycles I'm repeating. I want to cut them, and if I have to cut all of them in one lifetime, let's do that so we can get this over with and move on to whatever the next lesson we have to learn is. So I'm like, this is perfect, because you get a better understanding of how karma works and what's good karma and what's not good karma, and how it can come back to bite you in the butt. So I started taking a look at all of the karmic paths, and I'm like, okay, I didn't even know that you couldn't do that. So it's the biggest, I think the one takeaway that I got from all of the karmic paths is that you really have to live and let live. You can't see the world as black and white, and you have no idea. You have no idea the things that a person is going through and what's behind all of the things that you're seeing. You're not even seeing a side of a person. It's so multifaceted. So you have to not tell people how to live their life, or like give them any advice unless they ask for it, unless they actually are like, hey, I could really use your help in this, and just let their karma play out. because it's always going to come back. If you think that somebody's going to get away with something, it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, because how often do you hear about people who kind of, got all these amazing things in life and they were really shitty people, but then they are going to probably go out in a really shitty way, like Prince Charles, King Charles.
Oh,
Like,
Nichole. Oh.
what?
No, I'm so glad you brought that up because we have like such an admiration for Princess Diana.
I was like, can I not? Well, yeah, so Diana's probably up there like, that's what you get, motherfucker. Because she's a Cancer, so she has that salty side to her, like we do. I have a question, Anna. Okay, so you said that we have like a really difficult karma, and then you said like yours, even when you got it, you were like, oh man, but it wasn't as difficult. Or was it the karma or the lesson?
They didn't say it was difficult. They just said that I had a tendency of swinging one of two ways, either towards addiction or towards infidelity.
Oh,
so I'm like, that's harsh.
Okay. How many have you seen as far as like the different
of mine? I've probably seen like five charts that have the same karma as mine. Let's see. David Schwimmer has the same karma as I do. But your karma, you and Gabrielle's it was the first karma that I saw that was like that. So that's
But are there
really rare.
Are there like 10, like, I don't know, like 10 or 20 different karmic lessons that each soul is here to do? Like, is there like a number of how many there could be? Like, right, you have one, we have one. Like our other sister's probably going to have a different one. Like, are there like X numbers of those lessons or that karma? Like, it could be one of 20 or one of 100. Like, is there any information like that?
Probably. I've just been writing down the karmas as I've been going along. So like I told you guys, if I see another person if I come across another person that has your karma, I'm going to let you know if it's somebody famous. But yeah, I've looked, I think, at least 80 charts, and that was the first time that I saw your karma. And everybody else's, it feels like there's like five charts that have this one, 5 charts that have that one, 5 charts that have that one. But like yours was the first one that was like, I've never seen this one before.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So out of 80 so far, like you've seen maybe some repeating, but not that repeating?
I have seen most of them are repeating.
Okay.
Most of them are repeating. I went into, like, I basically went into Google and I just kept deep diving into celebrities until they, like, ran out of suggestions for like, celebrities to look up. And it's really interesting. It's really interesting to see how that karma plays out in their life.
And you've posted a couple different slides. One was, oh gosh, I should pull it up. Do you remember? One was like the
about
millionaire
stars, the talents. Is that what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so one thing I've noticed in celebrity charts is that they always have one of 4 talents. The star talent, which is the ability to, and it's also a tarot card, which is the ability to transmute energy. They collect energy when they're performing on stage, and they're able to kind of recycle it and send it back to the crowd.
Beyonce.
Emperor energy, leadership energy, and there's one more. Oh, I think fortune.
Let's see. So I'm looking at it right now. So one of the ones that you posted that was really cool was the millionaire program in Soul Contracts.
Mm-hmm.
And you said there was the 5-14-19 millionaire program.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to speak to what that is? And then,
so that shows up in a person's finance line. So when you're looking at your chart, there's a diagonal line that kind of goes on the right side, and half of it symbolizes your relationships and how that goes, and the other half symbolizes your finances. And so when you have 5, 14, 9, 19,
Mm-hmm.
19, means that you have a huge potential to be earning a lot of money.
So the people that you said that have the 5, 14, 19 were Justin Bieber, Gabriel Iglesias, Julie Andrews, Lily James, Suki Waterhouse, and Kristen Stewart. Didn't they both date Robert Pattinson?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah? Interesting.
I looked at it, I'm like, that's such a random list, because I looked at Bill Gates, I looked at Warren Buffett, I looked at Elon Musk even, and I'm like, why don't they have millionaire programs?
Interesting.
So it was really interesting that Kristen Stewart and Suki Waterhouse had that, and Gabriel Iglesias.
Yeah. We need to date Robert Pattinson and then maybe
become millionaires.
I've always been Team Edward, so.
You have. So true.
Okay, so what are some other things that you've seen? Because you said you've looked at a lot of celebrity charts. What are some other things that, so with like celebrities, is there something else that you've noticed that they have in common, like aside from maybe that 17 or that 5, 14, 19? Like what are some other commonalities that you've seen in the charts?
I started looking up troubled celebrities, or celebrities that have kind of gotten a bad rep, because I'm like, there has to be some like bad karma there. There has to be a binge program or an addiction program. And the majority of the time, when I thought I was going to find something like this is in their karma, this is why that their life was all tangled up in drugs or whatnot, it's not in there. So I'm like, that's strange. But they have this other trait that seeks adrenaline. It's like this trait, like where they take a lot of risks, and risks they should not be taking, and for the adrenaline. So I found that interesting, because I was like, for sure, like this person's gonna have a binging program, this person's gonna have blah blah blah. But the one the one that did have a binge program was Gabriel Iglesias. So I'm like, that makes sense.
That tracks.
Yeah. And there was another celebrity.
Have you looked at Britney Spears?
I haven't looked at Britney Spears.
Poor Britney.
I wonder what hers would be like.
I did look at all of the Friends cast characters. I was looking for an addiction one in Matthew Perry's. Wasn't there. Again, it was the adrenaline thing. So it's okay. So the one that really got me kind of like, I shouldn't look into this. Like, I shouldn't be reading this, but it was Matt LeBlanc's. He has a mother wound from a previous life. So he's in his programming, he's kind of attracting partners that act like a mother, and he's taking the child role.
Interesting.
So I'm like, I wonder, I kind of wish that you could know if that's true, but
I wonder where he falls also, like as far as his birth order in the family. Like I wonder, is he an only child? Is he older, or the oldest, or the youngest? Like I wonder what that is for him.
Did that make a difference, Nichole?
I mean, just with family systems, like typically, the youngest is going to be wanting to be taken care of, right? They're going to want like a mommy. They're going to want their partner to like mother them because they're just used to being taken care of. So that's why I just wonder if he had that wound, if that would be there also, because that would really line up. Oh yeah, it was crazy when I was looking at this, when you started posting it, and I was like, oh my God, this is like so cool. I've never seen anything like this or heard anything like it. And so I was like, Anna, like I can't book. The link's not working. Like, what do I do? Because I wanted it so bad. And then you messaged me and you're like, yours is like taking a really long time. And I was thinking, of course it is. And then, yeah, I mean, and it's so thorough. You guys, you need to get one. Like, I'm sure you have a lot of people, because I think that day you posted like, oh my gosh, you guys, like, I'm so like overwhelmed with how like many of you are interested. Like, this is so amazing. And my turnaround time is a week now. So I'm sure you got just hit up like crazy after that.
Yeah, it's 4 weeks now
That's
because
amazing. Congratulations.
Wow.
it really blew up, and it takes a while to
Yeah.
go through everybody's chart, and it takes a lot of energy, and I want to make sure that I'm like doing it correctly, and like I'm reading through all of this, and I'm intuitively picking out what doesn't resonate and what does, because a lot of the things like I don't agree with. I feel like the Russian language is too harsh. So a lot of the things I'm kind of a little bit like simmering it down. I'm like, okay, you're not going to get into a car accident like 100% this year. Like there's a chance, but yeah, I'm blown away, and I haven't really. I didn't expect for it to blow up this much.
I have a question. And
Yes.
by the way, I just thank you for just sharing this and your information and all the things and for being here. Um, your system shows like a really cool graph. It almost kind of looks like sacred geometry. It's some kind of like
That's
geometrical
what it
shape.
is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and there's a bunch of numbers within it, right? Which of those numbers, because it sounds like they may work in groups of three, because three is such a, symbolic and
Mm-hmm.
spiritual number. But like, which of the numbers are like the most karmic, would you say? And I'm asking from like a numerology perspective, just because I look at that within the astrology charts too. So I'm just so curious to see the similarities within the systems, because let's face it, there really are in the systems, the ones that we study and come across and have our guests speak to. And they're all kind of saying like similar things in different ways, but yours is very unique.
The larger numbers, the ones that are on the edges of the squares, on the corners of the squares, because those are the most important ones. Those are where every other number comes from, because you're adding those together in a circle. And then all of the smaller numbers, especially the numbers that are grouped together in threes, they're programs. They're programs, and there's stuff that you inherited from your parents programs, and like karmic programs. So they're going off based of the numbers in your birth date that you can find on the tippity top of the square, the side, and the other side on the bottom.
Nichole,
What do the colors mean?
Yeah.
They're the chakras. I haven't even
Oh.
touched that. I'm like, they have to do with your chakras. And I'm like, there's so much that I haven't even gotten to touch on yet. Like compatibility. You can check your compatibility with your partner or your spouse based on your soul contract charts, which is crazy. I checked mine with my partner, and I'm like, we're almost the same person. I'm like, we have so much of the same lessons. We have so much of the same talents. There's like minor differences. There's different karma, but it's very similar, which probably explains why we were brought together.
I pulled up my husband's human design chart one day because I was doing something, and I was like, oh, let me check to see what his is. And so I had just pulled up mine, and then I pulled up his, and then I was like, oh shit, did I accidentally re-enter my information? It was like almost exactly the same. I think there were two things that was different, where it talks about, I forgot what it is, but something about like you're drawn to like markets or drawn to mountains or whatever it is. Like that thing was different, and like one other, but we're both manifesting generators, 4 6s, sacral, like everything else was like to the T. And I was like, this is crazy, because I think we're really different, but apparently we're not. Apparently we're like the same.
That's what I thought when I pulled Gabrielle's chart up. I'm like, oh, darn it, I pulled up Nichole's again.
Yeah, that was crazy. So you had also said when we were messaging about it that you said you think we're two halves of the same soul. So maybe twin flames, maybe, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think we're twin flames? Do you think we're soulmates? Are we karmic partners?
I think you're twin flames. I think that you guys are halves of the same soul.
You're stuck
because
Oh, I
I
know.
mean, you have the same exact chart.
That's crazy.
You can't make this up.
It's like you're the same person. It was like I was reading for the same person.
Yeah, so I just feel like this was the validation that we needed because we always say that and people think we're crazy and
Nichole needs
we
a sign of your
are.
sign.
I do need a sign of your sign.
This was the sign of your sign.
Okay, I have a funny sign of your sign story. Okay, so the other day I asked for a sign. I asked a specific question. I said, if I'm supposed to do this, send me a sign, please, of a green triangle. And then I was driving the next day and I get behind this truck and there's like a green, he had something like a rubber tube. And I was like, I said out loud to nobody, that's not a green triangle. And I took a picture of it and I sent it to Gabby and she's like, that's a green triangle. And I was like, it's not because there's no green on the bottom. It's just more of like an arrow. And she's like, no, it's a green triangle. The next day or the day after, I think I asked for the sign on like a Friday or a Saturday and then I got it Sunday, whatever. It was like the very next day. And then the next day after that, I went to an appointment and then I looked and there were 2 green triangles on this like keyboard. And I was like, huh. I guess that's like a green triangle. Today, I went to a meeting with some people from work and I was looking at this girl and she had 3 actually, but she had 2 triangle tattoos right here. And I was like, And then she's like, well, it's actually black ink. She's like, but I guess it kind of like fades to green. So I was like, damn it. Like, I mean, like, not damn it, like, good, thank you. But it was like, is it green or is it black? Like, I don't know. So anyway, those are me. Like, I need the sign of your signs. It's like, no, it didn't happen 3 times. I'm only counting that it happened once because the other ones I'm still kind of on the fence about. And that's why my guides hate me. So
I remember that.
So I wonder, before you did this, Anna, because we did soul reading method, what were you wanting to do or what were you thinking you were going to do with the training that we got in soul reading? Because this seems like it's something that you kind of found more recently. So what were you doing maybe prior to that and what were you hoping to do versus what you're actually doing now?
So prior to soul reading, I fell in love with tarot. It got me through some really, really, really difficult parts of my life. I was listening to this girl on YouTube. She now calls herself Anita Serene, and she would do tarot, like monthly tarot videos, and she was so accurate and she knew how to kind of give you hope and like make you feel like you shouldn't give up and like to keep going. So I would regularly watch her videos because it gave me hope. And that was kind of what I was going for. I didn't know which specific way I was going to take it, but I was also interested in the Akashic records. And when I saw that Nikki Novo was offering all of the teachings, like spirit guide stuff, Akashic records, reincarnation, like talk about past lives, talk about energetic healings. I'm like, this sounds like it was a custom made package just for me. Like, I really need to get on board with this. And so I took that course and I was doing soul reading for a while using the soul reading method. And then I came across this by chance and I'm like, this is a map to your soul. This is like having the physical layout of it, and then you can probably dive even deeper into soul reading, seeing a person's soul laid out.
That makes so much sense. So I would love to like speak to the different, so like in the report and in the system of this matrix, you have the different colors and they align with the chakras. So so like for me, I'm happy to share my numbers. So mine's 6, 22, and those are in purple, which was representative of the third eye. And it's on my dad's side, our dad's side, which makes sense because our dad's very much a seer. And then on the bottom and the far right, I have 13 and 21, and I'm curious if Nichole's the same. And those are both in red, which are root chakra, which, by the way, like my root, my solar, my sacral, all the ones I've had to work on that I don't want to work on because it's easier to stay in your upper four and be a space cadet and be in the ethers. But I do feel very much called out. And so I would love to speak to the different, like, I guess, colors in the corners and if that can change dependent on a person.
So for the chakras, they use those numbers to predict your health, to predict health issues that you may have. So each chakra, it like is designated to the part of your body where the chakra is. So I started going through it. It's a book in and of itself, going through each chakra and them listing all of the potential health problems that you could have. Even for myself, I think I only made it past like throat because I started reading it. I'm like, this would be really bad if I was like a hypochondriac. Like this would be really bad because it's not that it lists everything. I started reading it and I'm like, okay, like hair loss, you could have this and this and this, and like some of this I was already kind of experiencing. So I'm like, maybe I shouldn't worry about this right now because it's a lot of information.
Yeah, you can definitely get like lost in the sauce for sure if you really go down the rabbit hole because it just feels like it's never ending. But, I was looking at like the different sections. You have like personalities, social, previous life, which I'm going to speak to, the scenarios that might play out in life. And then you go through like talents and like even relationships that you like talents that you get from your mom's side, your dad's side, potential relationships with children if you have them or don't. And then the programs. And then you go into year ahead as well. So that's like where Nichole and our mind differed. But speaking to the karmic part, it was like, which is funny, and this is very valid to what I've heard from other readers. It's like your life is not your own. You have a very rare and tough karmic debt. You are basically a humanitarian, and like you're meant to do this, and if you don't, your karma, like you have to repeat it, and you're kind of screwed. And so, laugh out loud to me and Nichole, jokes on us, because, well, yes, we can be out in public and do the things like we like our Cancerian protective shells very much.
I have a question, Anna. So Gabby was talking about the numbers, so like the 6, the 22, the 13, and the 21. On ours, because our birthday is 6/22, is that where those numbers come from? Or did those get there for something different? So like if somebody's birthday is, February 14th, is it going to be like a 2 and a 14?
On the outside squares, yes, it is. But all of the other numbers, they're added from those numbers of your birth date and month. And whenever it adds up to more than 22, you have to like re-add it. Anything over 22, then you add those two numbers and it comes up with a different number entirely.
Are there any like shitty numbers?
6 and 22. And 21 and 13?
22 is actually a really good number. So 22 is
a master number.
Yeah, it's a master number, and it's the last card of the major arcana. And if you have it in your finances, you are going to be wealthy. You are going to be very successful, and you're going to do very well. I think Taylor Swift some celebrity has a 22 in their chart. I was just looking at it.
Do we have a 22?
We have a 21, I believe, and a 7.
I was just thinking right before I got on this. I'm like, why haven't I looked up the Kardashians?
Oh,
Kris Jenner, baby. She's a Scorpio. Scorpios are brilliant in business.
Second question. So, I don't know if you know the answer to this or what the system says, but when it talks about maternal lineage and then paternal lineage, so I'm looking at it right now. I didn't see that. I don't think I really paid attention to the chart because I wouldn't know what to do with it. So I think I went straight to the book. And so for me, right, I have a biological father that I don't know anything about. I know like nothing really about the lineage or anything like that. And then I have my dad. What is it like, what is it based on? Is it based on biology? Is it based on the energy of like who your father is? Like, because I have two, but one I know nothing about.
I'm going to take an intuitive assumption on this. And I think biology doesn't play as big of a role in this, strictly because you guys, I'm not entirely sure how you guys came into each other's lives, but it was like you were destined to meet. It was like you're part of the same soul, so you guys probably have the same soul family. So I don't think your biological father's data plays a really big role in this if your father that you now have is part of your soul family. I think that's whose talents and gifts and karma you might be seeing.
So for someone who's adopted and has completely different, right? They have their two biological parents and, you know, maybe one or two adopted parents, depending on how they were adopted. How might that work? It would be kind of the same thing, maybe, like the energy of like, these are your parents and whoever brought you into the world, like, doesn't necessarily matter.
I feel like this kind of touches on spirit babies and how you choose to incarnate. I feel like it touches on that because sometimes when you make a contract, when you're coming into this world, into your body, somebody's only meant to play the role of the person that is bringing you into this world, and they don't have any other role for you. You're meant to find your soul family outside of it. Like if you're a person that feels like you could never really connect with your family, you could never really, like, there was no, you always had a bad relationship with them and they never really accepted you, and you find family elsewhere, like you find family within your friends, like you find your soul tribe. I feel like that you're still probably picking up on the karma of your birth parents, but I wonder if that might mean that you're also picking up on the karma of the parents that are adopted.
Third question. What about same-sex parents? So like if they're adopted, right? So I'm thinking of someone in particular right now who has same-sex parents. And I mean, I know they say even if it's same-sex, like one partner will take on more traditionally masculine roles, one will take on more traditionally feminine roles. You know, whether it's male or female. But what if it's two of the same, like two same-sex parents, two moms or two dads? And then there's maternal and paternal. Would that then kind of start to get messy? Because, I mean, they needed a man and a woman to bring them in, even if that's not who's raising them, right? Even if they're being raised by two men or two women, like they were conceived, they were made by the man and the woman. Like, what might that be?
I personally feel like your soul ties, like with your soul family, override genetics. I'm just thinking about this, and I think that it has to override genetics because you make an agreement, you choose what parents you need when you come into this life, what kind of lessons you want to learn, and I'm guessing you're taking on the lessons of the parents that are going to parent you.
I don't know why the fuck I picked the parent I picked. Jesus. I think that's my hard karma. Like, what the fuck did I do to her in a past life that she's done what she's done to me in this life? Because Jesus.
And that's in your chart, Nick. Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this one or my...
No, in your birth chart.
In my birth chart, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. Were you going to ask something earlier, Gabs?
I'm just looking at like...
Are you looking at it too?
I'm looking at my report and I'm just like, fuck. I just feel cold. Because some of these things, like there's a section from like signs you're acting from a place of fear, and legit, like these are the exact thoughts. There's like at least 20 bullet points here that I have, and like, you know, I take a big pride, and I'm speaking this out loud because I'm not bringing this into my existence, and I refuse, and I want the best for my future children, because one of the one of my main soul contracts in this lifetime is to be mother. It's actually the main one, which
How do
I'm
you
just
know?
like,
Where does it say that?
this is from a previous reading with Elisa,
Mm.
who you also had a reading with, who also said your core wound was your mother wound. So anyways, back in the day. Coming back to it, it's saying that like having a child with disabilities is actually something that it's a sign that you're acting from a place of fear. And I always think that in the back of my mind, like I would be, because I'm such a health nut, I'd be like really saddened for my child if they were to have that kind of disability. But then I know that like obviously I would love them, but because they wouldn't potentially be thriving in the way that maybe they were supposed to. Because sometimes with like soul contracts and agreements is like, yes, they came in, but they didn't agree to that type of body that would have a disability so that they couldn't achieve their soul contract.
I've actually heard the opposite, but what do you think, Anna?
I think they choose it. I think they choose that particular hardship if they're coming into a body with a disability.
That's what I've heard.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember where I got that information. I know I've read it somewhere, but they choose it specifically.
I've heard the opposite, you guys.
Dolores Cannon, the book that I was just reading of hers, one of her first ones, Between Lives or something, and they talk about that, how because they were talking about why do some people come in with these disabilities, and the language they were using was very dated because it's such an old book, so it was like proper at that time. But they were talking about people that come in with like intellectual disabilities, formerly known as like mental retardation. Why would someone choose to do that? Or why would someone choose to have, this type of disability that confines them to a wheelchair, or like, CP, whatever? And it's like, well, because they have really heavy karmic debts to pay off. And so they know that like, okay, if I agree to do this in this lifetime, then like I can get rid of this karmic debt. So it's almost, again, it's an agreement. They agree to do this because they have something so major that needs to be worked through. So that's the way to get it done. So I think it's a choice. And then how much do parents with disabilities learn, and how much do they grow, and just, like there's a big lesson for them there too. It's not easy, obviously, but there's a big lesson, right? A lot of them are maybe learning patience, maybe learning unconditional love. Maybe for them, one of their jobs to do in this lifetime is to grieve. And so when you have a child with a disability, you're grieving the loss of the child that you thought you were going to have, right? You're maybe not grieving the loss of the child physically, but you're grieving the loss of, oh, I'm going to have this healthy kid, right? Everybody thinks they're going to have a healthy child. Hold on up. Everybody thinks they're going to have a healthy child, and everybody thinks that, things are going to be fine and dandy. And then when it doesn't happen, it's like, oh shit, now what do I do? So that parent is also learning a lesson as well.
It just makes you think, like, or makes you wonder, like, what did you do in a past life to incur this kind of karma that you have to clear it out in this lifetime, Nichole?
Well, according to Anna's report, we like had people like killed. So
I know.
Yeah, like what the fuck were we doing?
I remember I had a reading in a past life before, that in a past life I had killed my husband by slowly poisoning him because he was abusing my children. And
I would do the same.
When she told me that, I was like proud of myself. I'm like, that's what he gets. And she's like, no, that's really bad karma. Like killing people is really bad karma. And I'm like, it feels like there's really tough rules concerning karma. It feels like it's really tricky because on the one hand, there's no black and white. I told you guys I was really careful about saying what's positive karma and what's negative karma, because I feel like it's all an opportunity for you to kind of filter out the beliefs in your system, the limiting beliefs in your system, the bad programming that you have. So yeah, it's that's why when I started picking this up, I'm like, I'm glad that I kind of get to take a look into how karma works, and where it's like, okay, you're definitely not supposed to be doing this. You're definitely not supposed to be like forcing people, or like taking control. So one of my favorite things that I went over in your chart was the toxic relationships. That was like, out of all of the things that you had, that one had so much information. And I was like, this is really good because it gave me a lesson or two, because it's like, when you're not speaking up for yourself and you're letting other people steamroll you, first of all, they're getting bad karma for steamrolling you, but it's also acting as an opportunity to give you the opportunity to take your voice back, take your power back, and be like, hey, this needs to stop. Like, this person at my work is just bulldozing everybody. It's a toxic work environment. We need to call in somebody else. And then, like, when you speak it out into existence, that we need to call in somebody else, the universe delivers. They just want you to take the step to be like, this is not acceptable to me.
Mm-hmm.
Have you gone down the YouTube rabbit hole of a life review and those that have had near-death experiences?
No.
Okay, so it's basically people that have had like near-death experiences, and they're talking about the life review. So they've already passed on. They're looking to see, like, they're basically reviewing like their life's karma.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like you might really enjoy that, considering this offering and the type of work you do.
Definitely.
I have a thought before we wrap up. I don't know if it's going to be a thought or a question. So, okay. In our chart, it said we had really bad karma because we likely had a bunch of people killed. Gabby, do you think we were like doing it together? Do you think we were like in the same lifetime?
100%.
Like doing 100%? That?
Yeah.
Or do you think we did it in different lifetimes?
I think both.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, that wasn't my thought. My thought was, I was also, from that Dolores Cannon book, I was just remembering, and I think I talked to you about this, Gabby. We might have mentioned it on the pod once before, but they were also talking about how Hitler didn't necessarily, how his karma wasn't necessarily going to be as bad as the people, like the officers who actually were doing the killing, even though, and so in the book, Dolores Cannon's like trying to understand it, and she's asking all these questions. She's like, what do you mean? Like, he's like the whole reason for it. But they're like, right, but he isn't the one that was actually doing any of like the killing, and he wasn't, and the ones that were doing it were getting like gratification and satisfaction from doing it. And they were actually saying that his father, Hitler's father, was actually going to be the one to have to pay the karma for what Hitler did in this lifetime, because he, so they said Hitler was like brilliant and he had like such gifts to give, but that he wasn't allowed to like express his like creativity, and his dad didn't allow him to do that. So the whole idea was, it's his dad's fault, because if his dad would have let him express himself, he would have gone to like become like an architect or like something else. He would have given something good, but dad didn't let that happen. So then he turned into this awful person that commanded people to do these things, and then they got gratification from all the bad things. And even though, you know, I would say that most people would agree that he's an awful, evil person, he's not going to get the bad karma, because it almost, like they said, wasn't his fault.
Wait,
I heard that, and I wasn't sure how I felt. I've heard that. I was iffy on that too. I didn't really want to accept it, but I did read something along the karmic contracts that some people come into your life, like they do a contract with you, they agree with you that they're going to come into your life and they're going to play the role of the villain, and they need to play this role so that you can work past your shit, so that you can do what you need to do and get where you need to be. And they might not be a villain, they might not be a terrible person, but they're going to play this role and push your buttons and get you to a really bad place so you can overcome it and then become the version of yourself that you need to be to carry out your mission.
Well, that's what my mom did. Fucking villain. That was the role that she must have agreed to play. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
But remember, You agreed to it.
Yeah, but I wasn't the villain. I mean, I am in some people's stories, but not in real life. That's in the Lulu land.
I wonder how much of that is going to the curtain is going to lift on that once you get to the other side of this. I wonder how much of it is going to lift up and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense why you had to do that.
You mean like when you're on the other side of healing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, when you're on the other side. Other side.
Like, you're like done with
like
planet
when
Earth.
you're
Okay.
dead.
Yeah. Wow.
Have you seen the movie Soul, Anna?
I have. I love it.
Have you seen the new short, the 22 versus Earth?
No, I don't think I have. No.
There's a little short. It's like not even 10 minutes or something, and it's hilarious. My son watches it all the time. I've been trying to get Gabby to watch it, and it's hilarious. But
it's going to rain this weekend, so I'll do it, I promise.
No, you won't. She's been trying to finish the book Journey of Souls for like 6 months, and I'm like, I finished that in like 3 weeks. Like, what do you mean you haven't finished it? You don't even have to sit down and read it. All you have to do is push play and listen to it.
When's your regression appointment, Nichole?
I finished the book. I finished the book a long time ago. Actually, I think I read it twice? And I read the other book twice. You haven't even finished. So anyway.
So
okay,
you haven't
Anna.
booked your appointment.
I didn't have a job. How can people get in touch with you? You said the waiting list is about 4 weeks now. How do we jump the line? Like, can we send you more money and like bump ourselves up on the line?
Sounds like bribery.
I'm bumping up the people that are choosing to do both the chart and the soul reading because they are paying more money. So I feel like I shouldn't make them wait 4 weeks, but I didn't expect to have each chart be so time consuming. So I'm probably going to start cutting down the information already that I've been giving out just because there's so much of it and there's so much more of it. And maybe people only need to like know a certain part of it. Maybe they only want to know like finances. Maybe they only want to know love and relationships or health wise. Maybe that's going to be easier. I don't know. Or maybe I just have to charge a price for that's bigger because I'm taking like a day and a half to do one chart. But you guys can find me at Anna Rising Official on Instagram and just send me a DM and let me know if you want a soul chart PDF, a soul contract chart to find out what you guys agreed to coming into this life, what lessons you agreed to learn, and what karma you're trying to heal. There's a lot of information, and it's overwhelming. I feel like that's why I keep saying that because it's like there was a section about scenarios of life, like scenarios that play out in your life, and every single one, I'm like, that happened, and it's scary accurate. It's like it feels like magic.
What is the price on them right now? Because I know you increased them. I know what the price was after you increased them. I just don't know if you've increased them since then, so I don't want to throw out numbers.
I haven't yet, but it's $55 right now. It's $55 right now for the soul contract PDF. And for the soul reading, it's $80, but for the soul reading and the soul contract, it's $120.
Okay. And if somebody wants reading and the PDF, those are maybe being prioritized.
Those are being prioritized.
Got it. Okay.
And the soul contract people are being pushed back just because there's a lot of things to be writing down. And a lot of the things like I hope you guys don't mind, but I'm going to share a part of your contract. So for your contract, it said that if you guys ever go off your mission for too long of serving, there's a very good chance that your soul's going to be like, okay, like we need to cut this incarnation short and we need to incarnate to the next one because we've gotten off topic, we've gotten off the road, and we need to come back in.
Oh shit, like we're going to die
to a different body. And like I read that and I'm like,
Nichole. No wonder her guides are such hard asses with her. That makes so much sense.
They're like,
No,
bitch,
you
we're
do
trying
it
to
to
keep you
yourself.
alive.
You do it to yourself.
Oh shit! I don't think I interpreted it that way. I might have just skimmed over that because I was like, la la la.
I
I don't
might
like
have
this.
glazed it a little bit, like just sugar-coated it a little bit, because I'm like, these girls are going to hate me right now.
No.
They're like, why are you saying that we're going to die if we stop doing what we're supposed to do? But no, I absolutely loved your energy. You guys both felt like such powerhouses, and like you both had so much energy. And I know why. I'm wondering if you guys were split into two for this reason, because you had so much energy and because your mission was so important to carry out that you guys needed to do it in two people.
Oh, Nichole.
Because along with you having the hardest karma, the both of you guys had the special mission trait, which is also rare, the special spiritual mission.
What is that?
It's not a unification mission, because it's the serving one. It's the serving others. Like, you're strictly supposed to serve other people. And I didn't like the way that sounded either. I'm like, they can't like live for themselves at all. Like, they can't, like, what does that mean? It's in its entirety. But you came here for a very specific goal. And if that goal is not carried out, if that mission is not carried out of you serving others, and this is kind of on topic, but another really, really bad way to earn bad karma is by withholding information, withholding knowledge.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either. I'm like, what? Like, you can't gatekeep at all. Gatekeeping is bad. It's bad karma. If you die knowing something that you could have shared with others and it could have helped them, it's bad karma on you.
Thank you for saying that, because I had been feeling that personally for some time, and I actually haven't spoken with Nichole about this. So Nichole, I would really love your thoughts on that. But it's funny because one of the cards I keep pulling on a daily card pull, it's come up like 3 times over the last couple of days. It represents the throat chakra and like not holding back and like speaking your truth and not gatekeeping. Because part of me in the back of my mind, I feel, and this is my Cancer, I feel very uncomfortable putting myself out there and sharing what I know, because, people are going to think I'm crazy. They already do. And it's fine, but it's like a protection mechanism. And I think it's like very much a past life thing. However, when I saw that in the report, it was almost kind of like a permission slip to like, it's like that reminder to do it, to not like gatekeep, because it's going to benefit other people.
You have to share it, and it kind of touches on what you were saying about Dolores Cannon and Hitler's father, Nichole, that he could have easily prevented World War II if he was just nicer to his kid and let his kid be a kid and not be so hard on him.
Do what he wanted to do, yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of...
Thanks, Hitler's dad.
I feel like that enforces thanks. I feel like that enforces the butterfly effect of, if you ever went back in time and if you like stepped on a butterfly, it could just cascade into a lot of different things. So maybe you gatekeeping any sort of knowledge, like something that you know that you're not sharing, maybe that has such a tremendous impact on a world scale, on a global scale, of where we could be if you had just shared it with the people that needed to hear it, or like one person that needed to hear it and then would be able to share it with other people.
Nichole, thoughts? Because this is your karma too. What do you think? What's going on in that Manny Gen therapist brain of yours?
How
do you feel about that? Yeah, how do you feel about that applying specific to you, and if you don't share and you gatekeep?
I don't think I gatekeep, though. I don't think that's an issue for me.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. So I don't think that applies to me. I think that applies more to you, which would make sense if we're two halves of the same soul, right? Like, I don't have this, but you have that. Like, you have this, right? Like, yeah. So I don't think that's an issue for me. And even with just little things, and I don't want to spend too much time on this because I think it's pretty late where Anna's at. Even with like little things, like I've kind of told you before, like, Gabby, there's like enough of like things to go around, like for people, right? Like, and I remember you saying like, oh, like I love how you kind of like see things that way, where it's like like you want to learn something and you want to but you want to be the only one that does it. And I think I've told you, but you don't need to be the only one that does it because you can't serve everybody. So share what you know with other people so that other people can also provide it. Like, it doesn't just need to be, I'm the only person in the world that does this. Well, that doesn't fucking help the world because you can't serve
There's
everybody
only
in the
one of
world.
you, right?
So give your knowledge to other people, and that's fine. That's not going to take anything away from you if you are teaching 100 other people. Do you think Nikki is like, oh, I can't teach all these people what I do because that's going to take away from me? No.
It's twofold.
A limiting belief.
Yeah, it is. It's a little bit of that. It's me putting myself out there. It's I've worked through the imposter syndrome, and I did that in 2023, but it's very much, it feels like past life, but it's the same thing for you, Nichole, where you have more of the root chakra issues in relation to abundance and stability and stuff, whereas I don't have that, even though I do have root chakra issues that I'm working through. So it's really interesting to see the patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And self-worth too. It's just really interesting to see the things come up for us in different ways, same places, same chakras, but it's a lot, guys. If you ever hang out with us, listeners out there, if you hang out with us in person, if we ever meet, you'll know what we're talking about.
I think people get a sense just here.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay. So people, if you guys want a chart, you guys need to do it weeks ago. Or no, we did ours last week. Man, we got in right at the great timing.
Huh? We did.
Yeah, because I got mine the very next day. And Gabs, I think you got yours the next day or the day after I got mine. Mm-hmm. And then, I think the day that I asked you to do it, I think later on that day you posted oh my gosh, I'm flooded.
Yeah.
People flocked to you so quick, which was so cool to see. I loved it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of it was thanks to you guys.
Aww.
It really was. And I guess people, I had a feeling that it would be easier to explain soul charts and karma from past lives if they were able to kind of see it how it manifests physically, kind of on paper, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. So you guys go get your chart, and you're going to have to wait 4 weeks. Sorry. But it's totally worth it. The first thing I thought was I bought a human design blueprint.
Oh,
and it was, I don't know, it was $100 or something.
You weren't happy with it, right?
And it was fucking garbage. And I was so upset when I got it. I was like, this is so dumb. I have a human design book. It's the same shit that's in my human design book that I've already read. I was so mad. And when I got yours, I was like, oh, hell yes. This is 100 times better than that stupid human design blueprint thing that I got.
So I really got to jack up the prices. Because I was thinking, I'm like, how much would I pay to get this? And me and my sister, we were talking about it. I was like, because it was cheaper. It was cheaper than 55 when we got it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, she needs to increase her prices because that is low. And we were even talking about maybe in a couple weeks, and I think we even threw out the number 55, maybe increase up to 55.
Yeah,
and even at 55, that is
still. You guys didn't. Yeah. I did that. I did that myself. I guess you guys dropped me an intuitive message.
Yeah. We were like, even if she raised it up to 55, that's still not even not even enough and mind you, I don't even think we had received it yet, but we just kind of knew that it was going to have a lot of information. And then you're like, oh, price is at 55. And we're like, yeah. Because we're this is so good.
I can't wait. And it's not even the half of it. It's not even the half of it. And I don't know what to do with the other half. I don't know if I should be dividing this information because I haven't even dug into the other half yet. I'm like, this is already, I felt like when I was doing the charts, I felt like there was codes in there. I felt like there was healing codes where there's just light bulbs going off about your karma and about your lessons. And I'm like, this is so healing because on one hand, you get to know like that there's all of this pain, all of this stuff that has been going on for like generations, and there's a way to break that, and it tells you how to break it, but you kind of already knew how to break it. So it's just it's like a signal that you couldn't connect before, and all of a sudden connects, and it's like, okay, I know what I gotta do. Here's to moving on to the next karmic lesson.
I have some thoughts that we'll talk about when we're done. But okay, so you guys, right now we're in February. You guys, the prices went up from like 1 hour to the next because it's that good. We can't guarantee you that when this episode comes out that the prices are still going to be what they are. So you guys, like, seriously, like, just get it. It's going to be worth the 4-week wait. It's so good, and you want to do it now before the wait turns into 6 weeks or the price goes up. And even if the price goes up, it's still going to be worth it. Definitely, highly recommend that you guys get this done ASAP.
Thank you,
and I'm so
Thank
mad
you so
that the wait is so long because I was wanting to get one for my husband and I just forgot. And so now I need to do that, and it's fine because he doesn't know I'm doing it. So we can wait 4 weeks because it's just for me anyway. It's just for me to look. That'll be crazy if it's the same thing. It might be, and I'll tell you why when we hang up. Or when we're done recording. Okay.
Oh, I know why.
Gabs, do you have anything?
Card pull.
Oh, yeah, card pull.
And then, so Anna Rising Official, right? And then,
Yes.
Do you have a website, my dear?
I do, AnnaRising.org.
Love it.
We'll
Amazing.
include
Oh my
it all
gosh.
in the
You
show
guys
notes.
can find my Instagram on that website, so just go ahead and click on the Instagram icon. It'll take you to my Instagram, and then DM me because I don't have links up yet for the site.
Amazing.
Who's doing the card pull?
You are. Or Anna.
Anna, do you have a card?
I could do. I do.
Oh, okay. I think this is. Oh,
I
I was gonna say, is it the first guest that had a deck? But no, I think Elizabeth did too, right?
And Michelle too, right?
Oh, yeah, Michelle did too.
Yeah.
This is my favorite card deck, the Light Seer's
I've seen
Tarot.
that. Yeah, our girlfriend in Arizona loves it.
I absolutely love the messages, and it's my go-to for everything because it's
the writer.
I don't know, it's
the OG. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, speaks to my soul. Oh, okay, hold on. Got one. Queen of Swords.
Ooh, that's get shit done energy right there.
All right, what are we supposed to get done? All right, so the message is a thought leader, unbiased decision making, an excellent communicator, wise and logical counsel. Integrity, it symbolizes honesty, being perceptive, intelligence, being direct, seeking truth. I know the swords is like the air signs. The swords, what do you call them? Symbolizes the air signs. So the message is highly astute, intellectual, and honest. She watches calmly over her kingdom. Graceful and logical, her wisdom is framed in truth and proof, and she avoids the gossip or fluff that others may want to hear. She asks you to be honest in your relationships, direct in your speech, and witty if you want to be, but above all, to bring your clear-headed, unbiased reasoning to the table. And that's just what we were talking about. Sometimes this communication style can come across as cold or cutting. So if you're having trouble communicating something that is difficult for another person to hear, know that you can always dip your toe into the cup of empathy and compassion to help with your delivery. Sharp analysis and careful consideration are always intelligent moves, as is being able to clearly connect with others in a way that is easily accepted and understood. A clear heart and clear mind will allow you to speak your truth always.
Oh, I love that. I feel like that accurately described me. I'm the Queen of Swords. No?
I had a reader. No, I'm laughing because of the irony. I had a reader say, "Oh, you're the Queen of Swords in the tarot."
Of course
and
you
I was
are.
like, "Well, she told me this before. You just said that about yourself." But then I was laughing to myself because we're the same person. So, duh, of course, you would be.
Anna confirmed it.
There we go.
You guys heard it. Okay. Thank you so much, Anna, again for agreeing to meet with us so last minute. But I feel like it was perfect with like the episodes we just had, the things we were talking about, just how it all unfolded that like it couldn't have happened any other way, and
it was meant to be.
It totally was. Thank you so much. Okay, guys.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah. And you guys hurry up and book now. Okay. All right. We'll see you next time. I don't know what we're doing next time, but we'll figure it out.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.